But I thought to myself, surely someone else has had this idea at some point, playing Walter Brown. And I couldn't remember any games. I couldn't remember any times any person had ever played this move in this position. And because it seems to waste a move. You're doing something with your king pawn in two moves, which you could have done in one. But the more I thought about it, the more it seemed like a good idea. And so that's what I did. And he was very surprised. And he thought, and he thought, and he thought for a very long time. I think he thought for like 40 or 50 minutes. Because it completely changed the character of the position. And he didn't handle it very well. He didn't make what I thought were the best moves. And for some reason, a sort of timidity or cautiousness came over him. I mean, he was really known as a very sharp attacking player. But something happened to him in this unfamiliar position, and he stopped thinking about attacking me. Because there were opportunities which I saw, and I'm not as gifted as he is. There were opportunities for him to attack which I saw, which were a little risky, but it was exactly the kind of thing he liked to do. But he didn't do that. I guess he was thinking that and he ended up being right, that he was such a better chess player than me, that if he just played a safe game, that eventually I would make a mistake that was big enough to lose the game. That's eventually what happened, but it was a very interesting ride. So he played cautiously instead of making what I'm sure were the best moves, which were attacking, but somewhat risky moves. And slowly, I maneuvered my pieces. I took advantage of the time that he was giving me. I took advantage of the fact that he wasn't really putting pressure on me. And I put all my pieces on good positions. And I looked for a target, and I thought the weakest spot in his position was on his king side, near his king. So I started attacking his king. And it was obvious to me, and obvious to everybody watching the game, that I had the better position. Unfortunately, it was still quite complex. And I really was pushing him, really was pressuring him. His clock was getting very short. His legs were a-going. I had a continuation which was almost winning. My position was so strong, I'd done so many good things, and he was so cornered, that if I just made about 2 or 3 more good moves, he was done. But I got distracted. I started looking at a move which involved the sacrifice of my queen. In chess terms, the flashiest thing a chess player can do is to sacrifice his queen, which is to give up his queen without, obtaining in exchange the opponent's queen. The queen is the most powerful piece. To give up one's queen for something else, an opportunity to attack, an opportunity to perhaps checkmate, the opponent's king. And I saw this idea, and it looked pretty reasonable, and I started to get very nervous. I thought to myself, how many people have ever sacrificed their queen against Walter Brown? Unfortunately, I thought so much about it that I missed another move, which was a little less flashy, but was probably winning. So, I sacrificed my queen against Walter Brown, and to his credit, even though he didn't have much time, even though he was under a lot of pressure, he saw the correct defense, and I was lost. There was nothing I could do. I'd given up too much material. I'd given up my queen, and didn't really get enough back. And after that, after a few key moves, it was clear that he would win, and so I resigned. He didn't say much, but that game was so interesting that it was published by someone else in a national chess magazine called Chess Life. And it was annotated in some Ohio chess magazines. There were a lot of people interested in the game, and of course they all pointed out, how foolish I was to sacrifice the queen when I had this other move, which was probably winning. But it was a great experience for me, and um, I enjoyed the opportunity to meet and play Walter Brown. I got to talk to Stuart about it. Stuart had played Walter Brown, and now finally I had played Walter Brown. And we got to really compare notes and share, a few jokes about his nervous habits and his shaking and the way he is at the table, hunched down with his hands in his hair going through his hair. It was a great experience and an important one in my chess career.